The corridor stretched out like an endless tunnel, illuminated only by the flickering fluorescence above. I treaded cautiously, each step echoing through the empty halls. My footsteps mingled with the ghostly whispers that didn't belong to the living. I was here on an assignment to document the hospital's closure, a place that had housed countless tragedies, its walls filled with echoes of pain and suffering. As I ventured deeper, an unnerving sensation crawled along my skin, a sensation that told me I wasn't alone. The air grew heavier, and a chill pierced through my bones despite the stifling warmth. Shadows danced along the walls, morphing into contorted shapes that seemed to reach out for me, urging me to turn back. But I pressed on, compelled by a morbid curiosity that overshadowed my fear. As I passed room after room, I caught fleeting glimpses of something, an apparition or a trick of the dim light, I couldn't be sure. The hospital's silence was deafening, broken only by the faint hum of the outdated equipment that still lingered in some rooms, a haunting symphony of the forgotten. Then, a faint melody echoed through the corridors, a child's laughter intertwined with an eerie tune. My heart raced as I followed the sound, leading me to the children's ward, a place frozen in time, filled with abandoned toys and half-made beds. A flickering light drew my attention to a lone rocking chair swaying back and forth, its creaking merging with the haunting melody. My breath caught in my throat as I saw a spectral figure, a childlike apparition, perched on the chair, singing a lullaby to an invisible presence. I wanted to flee, to escape the unearthly sight, but something compelled me to stay. The child's eyes met mine, filled with a sorrowful plea. And then, in an instant, the figure dissolved into the ether, leaving behind a lingering sense of despair. Shaken, I continued my exploration, each step heavier than the last. The hospital seemed to have a life of its own, memories trapped within its walls, yearning to be released. Doors creaked open and shut of their own accord, inviting me in with a foreboding sense of urgency. I stumbled upon the operating theater, where the air hung thick with an acrid scent, a reminder of lives lost on these sterile tables. I could almost hear the surgeon's desperate commands, the pained cries of the afflicted, and the final breaths that whispered into the void. In the intensive care unit, monitors flickered to life, displaying erratic patterns that mirrored the chaos of lives slipping away. I felt a hand brush against mine, icy and intangible, sending a shiver down my spine. But when I turned, there was no one there. My resolve began to falter, the weight of the hospital's past bearing down on me. I wanted nothing more than to escape this spectral prison, to leave the memories of the forsaken behind. But as I made my way to the exit, a voice echoed in the recesses of my mind, a plea for closure, for acknowledgement. With a trembling hand, I reached out and whispered, "I hear you. I acknowledge your pain." In that moment, the hospital seemed to exhale, releasing the trapped souls that lingered within. The eerie silence lifted, replaced by a sense of peace, as if the ghosts had found solace in being heard at last. As I stepped outside, the sun broke through the clouds, casting its warm rays upon the now serene building. Turning back one last time, I offered a silent farewell to the hospital, now freed from its haunted past.